In today's world, we often buy lots of things and throw them away quickly, right? In this kind of world, the Japanese word Mottainai clearly reminds us of the important things around us and the real meaning of using things carefully. Mottainai originally comes from the phrase motaiganai, and it means something like, "Oh, what a waste," or "that's too good to waste." This word holds a deep feeling of cherishing and respecting what we have, including things, materials, and even our experiences. Mottainai is deeply rooted in Japanese culture and shows a feeling of valuing the connection between life and nature. For a long time, Japanese society has been influenced by Shinto ideas. In Shinto, it's believed that nature and all living things have spirits. These ideas led to a heart that values resources and created actions that fit the spirit of Mottainai. Looking back at the past, Mottainai was used in many parts of life, like with food, clothes, and gifts from nature. For example, in old farming villages, they practiced Mottainai by using every part of the crops they grew. This idea has also spread to art. For example, there's an old technique called kintsugi. This is where broken pottery is fixed with lacquer and gold powder, showing the beauty of things that aren't perfect and the idea that nothing should be thrown away without thinking. The idea of Mottainai is also deeply connected to Japan's old ways of seeing beauty, especially the deep idea of Wabi-sabi. Wabi-sabi values the beauty in things that are not perfect, things that change, and the natural cycle of growing and fading. This idea teaches us to value the simple things we use every day and their natural goodness. And it strengthens the idea that an item's value isn't in being perfect, but in the story and history behind each one. Because of this, Mottainai teaches us to find beauty in what we have, even in its imperfect parts. And it encourages a way of life that values good quality and things that last, rather than how much or how new something is. For us living in today's complicated world, the idea of Mottainai is becoming more and more meaningful. Clothes that go out of style quickly, plastic we only use once, and our throwaway culture are big problems for our environment and how we live. That's why it's important to include the idea of Mottainai when we talk about living with less and living in a way that can last. The most important idea of Mottainai is to change to mindful buying, which means thinking carefully about how we use things. This means thinking hard about what you buy and what effects it will have. By having the spirit of Mottainai, we can feel more thankful for the things we own. This shows up in many ways. For example, quality over quantity. Instead of jumping at clothes that fall apart quickly or cheap items, Mottainai suggests spending money on high-quality things that will last a long time. This not only cuts down on trash, but also helps us feel more connected to our things. Using things again, repurposing, and giving things new value, upcycling. When you have the Mottainai spirit, new ideas come up for using things again that you might have thrown away. This way not only makes as little trash as possible, but also brings out everyone's cleverness. This is like Japan's old way of finding new uses for old things, isn't it? Eating with thought, mindful eating. In the world of cooking, Mottainai reminds us to value food and not waste it. For example, this means planning meals carefully, using leftovers well, and supporting local farmers who use farming methods that can last. When practicing Mottainai in Japanese cooking, it's common to use every bit of the ingredients, like making soup from vegetable peels and scraps, or turning old rice into tasty porridge. Valuing what you have is a central idea for both Mottainai and living with less. In today's world that encourages getting more and more things, we need to stop and think carefully about how important our belongings are. Mottainai teaches us to be thankful for the stories behind each of our belongings and the resources used to make them. When our way of looking at things changes like this, we can change a lot. Instead of seeing things as throwaway or replaceable, we start to see them as an essential part of our lives, filled with meaning and history. This helps grow feelings of thanks and respect, and leads to using things in a way that can last much longer. As worries about environmental problems grow, the idea of Mottainai is deeply tied to the goals of a society that can last. By understanding the true value of resources and making as little waste as possible, we can lessen our bad effects on the environment. One of the clearest ways to use Mottainai is to reduce trash. In Japan, efforts like the Mottainai movement are gradually spreading, and local people are starting to work on reducing trash and aiming for a society that can last. This includes learning sessions for everyone from kids to adults, helping to grow a sense of responsibility for the environment and a culture of valuing things. Mottainai also encourages supporting companies that care about doing things in a way that can last. For example, buying things from local craftspeople who make items using old methods, joining in community-supported farming, or giving money to companies that make things the right way. In Japan, there are many companies and shops that value the Mottainai spirit, from zero-waste stores to companies that recycle fabric scraps into stylish clothes. You don't need to make big changes to bring Mottainai into your daily life. Instead, it's important to make thoughtful choices, one by one. Clean up with a purpose. When you're tidying up, think about the story and value of each item. Instead of throwing it away quickly, think about how you can use it again, give it to someone, or recycle it. Join in activities that can last. Take part in local cleanups, support companies that do things in a lasting way, or help make rules to reduce trash. By actively getting involved with people in your area, you can help create a culture for a society that can last, born from the spirit of Mottainai. Teach and share. Talk about the idea of Mottainai with your friends and family. Hold learning groups or discussions about using things thoughtfully, and spread a good influence so that other people will think, "That's nice, let's try it." Always have a feeling of thanks. Grow a feeling of thanks for your belongings and the resources you use. Keep a journal and think about what you value most and why. This habit will help you feel more connected to your things and make your days more enjoyable and thankful. Mottainai is a Japanese idea, but its importance spreads far beyond Japan. Now that the whole world is dealing with the earth getting warmer, climate change, running out of resources, and buying too many wasteful things, the idea of Mottainai gives us very helpful hints for aiming for a society that can last all over the planet. Connection. Mottainai values the connection between people and the environment. Knowing that our actions affect not only our own lives, but also other people and the earth is very important for building a future that can last. Respecting culture. The idea that all things and resources have value from the start helps us go beyond cultural differences. By respecting different ways and old customs, we can learn from many cultures that value doing things in a lasting way and reducing waste. Getting involved with local people. Mottainai helps grow a feeling of helping each other and encourages people to work together to tackle the same problems. Finally, the idea of Mottainai strongly reminds us how important it is to value what we have and make as little waste as possible. By accepting this idea, we can go beyond country differences and grow a thoughtful culture that connects with the ideas of living with less and a society that can last. As the world gets busier and uses more things, the teachings of Mottainai guide us to a way of life where we think more about our actions and respect the things around us. By bringing Mottainai into our daily lives, we not only value the resources we have, but also help build a friendlier and more lasting relationship with the environment. By working together and trying to use things thoughtfully, we can create a future where the true importance of Mottainai is celebrated, and the beauty and value of our world are protected for the children to come.